right. It's night 4. We're just cruising right through this book. So it's already getting good. It doesn't take long. He brings the party to you at a very young age. In my little paper doll cutout, Liberace cutout, we have this one today. Look at this outfit. Pink sequin suit. And the quote that he goes with this one, and these are his quotes, I looked it up. Time to shop for a new car? A swinging sequin suit screams, I'm here to make a deal. I think it says a lot more than that, especially if you're going to do that in Wisconsin, but good for him. Here he goes. We'll put him right here. There. That's the new one. Are you still frozen? Still freezing here. Still snowed in. Could be years. Who knows? Oh, my God. What are we drinking? Almost forgot. This is Thomas Rhett, the country singer. Do you know Thomas Rhett? Maybe Americana. I don't know how you describe him. It's his tequila. Dos Primos. Tequila Blanco. And it was given to me for free because I bought a bunch of other liquor. So I'm not really a big tequila person per se, but people forget that you can sip on tequila just by itself if it's good. Usually in the Midwest, this would only be dumped in margaritas. Giant igloo coolers full of margaritas. But occasionally, it's delicious just as a drink itself. Something to keep in mind. All right, let's go back. We're in the Depression. He's in high school, but he's out there working. He was leaving his house. We left where his mother said, where are you going? And he said, I'm going to play. She was reassured when Del Krause arrived to take the streetcar to the engagement with Walter. Because, well, why would he lie? Del lived a block and a half away, and he seemed like a nice, responsible boy. Mrs. Liberace was appalled to learn from a neighbor that Walter had been seen playing piano in a beer garden. She forbade him from leaving the house at night for a week. What are you going to do? Walter said to Del Krause. We've got that date at Little Nick's tonight. Well, I've got it, Wally. I've got an idea, Del replied. That evening, after Liberace's parents had gone to bed, he brought Walter a ladder. He brought a ladder to Walter's bedroom. Walter climbed down it, went off to play for the Beery. It actually says Beery, B-E-E-R-Y, Beery customers at Little Nick's, and returned home undetected. Only Walter's music could prevent him from being the model's son and student. On Friday afternoon, the band was engaged for a mixer at West Division High School. To arrive in time, Walter and Del had to cut their classes at West Milwaukee High. We'll get caught, Walter said. No, we won't, Del said confidently. Walter was right. Both students faced a reprimand in the principal's office on Monday morning. Wow. Listen, if these kids cannot get out and make some money, my grandpa quit school in 8th grade and went to go be a caddy. Well, what? Everything worked out fine. No problem. The band started with salaries of 50 cents apiece per evening, but soon were $1.25. That's good money back then. The engagements Walter liked best were at a beer garden where the management allowed the young players to partake of the meals. On Friday night, there was a fish fry. Delicious. And on Saturday night, a chicken fry. I never heard of a chicken fry, but I'm in for fried chicken. Walter always went back for extras. Leroy Schultz was the only boy in the neighborhood who owned a car, a 1923 Model T Ford that he kept in assembly line condition. The musicians paid him 50 cents a night to drive them to and from engagements, thus simplifying their operations. Since he was the youngest, Walter sat in the front seat between the driver and Del Krause's bass drum. Walter Liberace was I can't say that word. When the band took an intermission, he continued playing for customers, asking for requests. The band often appeared at a gin mill that Joe Zingheimer's brother operated at Beloit and Cold Spring Streets. One night, Joe's brother was in a playful mood, and he poured beer over Walter's fingers as he was playing. Walter didn't miss a note. "Stop!" exclaimed the alarmed Zingsham. "It's going to ruin the piano." But Walter continued to the end of the song. What a jokester. This guy never stopped. While Walter played ragtime at night, he continued studying classics with Florence Kelly in the daytime. When he was 14, she presented him with his first recital at Wisconsin College of Music. "You did me proud," Miss Kelly admitted in a rare display of praise for her precious student. His program of etudes and sonatas were applauded heartily by the audience of teachers, students, and parents. "Did you hear about the show at the Riverside Theater?" A high school friend asked Walter one day. "They're putting on something called Milwaukee on Parade, using a lot of local talent. I bet you could make it." Walter hurried down to the movie palace, and he asked to see the manager. The manager was unimpressed by the kid in the knickers and sent him away. Walter came back the next day after school and the next day until the exasperated manager agreed to an audition. Not bad, he conceded after the boy delivered a whirlwind rendition of 12th Street Rag. No idea. Florence Kelly was the first to hear the news from the breathless Walter. A week's engagement at the movie palace in the Fanchon and Marco Review. No idea. The theater was going to supply him with a suit since he didn't own one, and I'll bet he bedazzles the shit out of that. He's not going to wear some boring suit. Walter didn't tell his family about the date because he knew his father would not approve of his son playing popular songs for the movie theater audience. Sam Liberace learned the news from Florence Kelly. Did you know what Wally's doing? He's playing at the Riverside Theater, and he's damn good, too. As Walter anticipated, his father disapproved. But Sam Liberace was less upset when Walter presented his week's salary, $75. Holy shit! Although he couldn't throw a football or catch a fly ball, Walter Liberace became popular with his fellow students, male and female, at West Milwaukee High. Taunts of being a sissy were seldom heard, and even the school athletics admires his sunny personality and readiness to entertain. As soon as he gulped down the lunch his mother had made for him, he hurried to the girls' gymnasium and played Boogie Woogie and the latest popular songs for them. Well, who doesn't want Walter around? Come on, he's playing all our favorite songs. It's not like they had a boombox to bring with them back then. You got to count on Walter showing up. You want music? We need Walter. Joe Schwei, the faculty member in charge of the assembly programs, knew he could always count on Walter to help fill a vacancy. One arose on the day the home economics class planned a fashion show of designs created by students. The girl who was scheduled to announce the show became ill. I'll do it, Walter told Mr. Schwei. He reported for the show in a beret, artist smock, and flowing tie. I guess if you just go over the fucking top, nobody's going to say nothing because it's fabulous. That's where people get caught on the fence. Like if they want to go over the top, then they're scared to. You just got to go over. Where does he even get these things? Where are you getting a beret? I wouldn't know where to get one now. I mean, Amazon, but, if it wasn't Amazon. With a long pointer and an easel, he explained the fashions and introduced the models with so much humor he had the audience laughing throughout the performance. Oh, he's just wonderful. By day at West Milwaukee High School, Walter Liberace was learning English composition, German, Latin, mathematics, and other basic subjects. His education at night was far different. Playing piano in beer gardens and roadhouses introduced him to a world far removed from the conservative, basic Catholic neighborhood where he had grown up. Customers could be noisy, lewd, and roaring drunk. Walter, who'd been allowed a glass of wine at the family table, was introduced to booze when he was barely 15. The Del Cross Band was playing at the silver wedding anniversary party of a Polish couple. The evening had been marked by heartfelt toasts and frenetic dancing. Frenetic. The host lurched up to the bandstand with the unlabeled bottle. Something for you boys, he said grandly. Joe Zingzong, Zingheim, took a swallow and passed the bottle to Walter. Walter had a swig, and with watery eyes and scalded throat, handed the bottle to Carl Lorenz. The moonshine made the circuit of the players 3 times before it was time to begin another set of numbers. Walter sat down at the piano, played the first 8 bars of the karaoke, and fell off the bench. Oh, Lord. He was wary of alcohol ever afterward. Walter was also learning about sex. The primary facts had been imparted to him by his brother George, but Walter had no first-hand knowledge. Kisses with girls, small kisses with the few girls he dated, nothing more. He'd never seen a naked woman. He listened to the bragging tales of the conquest by boys whose brashness he admired but could not emulate. He couldn't imagine himself forcing his manhood on the demure, virginal girls he knew in school. His piano engagements introduced him to a different kind of woman. Self-sheltered he had been when he saw a woman smoke for the first time in a beer garden. He was so astonished that he stopped playing. Just smoking a cig. Walter reported one evening for a smoker at a men's... Walter reported one evening for a smoker. A smoker, like an event. At a men's fraternal organization. As he played honky-tonk on the piano, the hall darkened and a flickering scratch movie appeared on the screen. Walter watched in disbelief as the shadowy naked figures coupled and performed bizarre contortions while the male audience shouted lewd comments and roared with laughter. Wow, the shit people came up with because there wasn't cable. I mean, Wow. The lights came on, and the spotlight shone on the stage, where three women with dyed hair and heavy makeup appeared from behind the curtain, while Walter played St. Louis Blues. What? The women performed an amateur dance, removing all their clothing to a storm of approval. He continued with the music while the woman brushed past him provocatively and began mingling with the lodge members. Walter played a noisy accompaniment to the merriment until the door swung open and the Milwaukee police stormed into the hall amid a shrill chorus of whistles. A bust! Sam Liberace claimed his son at the police station and delivered a blistering tirade on the way home. It is not Walter's fault. What the fuck's going on at the gig? He was hired for the gig. It's not my fault if there are naked people doing shadow puppets. That ain't on me. That's on them. I'm just a hired hand. Freelance. Independent contractor. Mrs. Liberace added her own fury and decreed Walter could henceforward, what's the word? Only work at teas? No. Weddings? And other polite gatherings. But of course that proved impractical since the boy brought home sizable checks from playing in saloons and roadhouses. And Walter was now the principal earner of the Liberace household. When Walter was 16, George found him work at Pix Club Madrid, a roadhouse that attracted big spenders from Chicago. Yeah. He accompanied his wife, George's wife, a soprano who specialized in operetta songs. He also played for other women singers who strolled among the tables while Walter followed them with a small piano on wheels. Wow. The singers split tips with him. A piano on wheels. How do you pedal that? It'd be funny if you did pedal it, like a bike, and it was just a piano, like a keyboard. George, who played violin in the orchestra, always drove his wife and Walter to and from the Club Madrid. One night, the blues singer, a lusty redhead whose busty figure and suggestive songs pleased the male customers, told George there were two men who looked promising for big tips. "Can Walter stay and play for me?" she asked. "I'll split the tips with the kid and drive him home." The two customers tipped handsomely, and both Walter and the blues singer were elated as they divided the money and began the long drive back to Milwaukee. Virtually no other cars were on the road, and on a quiet stretch, the singer drove to the side and parked. She began fondling Walter and said with a laugh, "My, you're a big boy." Before he realized what was happening, she had unbuttoned his pants and his mouth and was mouthing his erect penis. He had never felt such a sensation in his life. Afterwards, she aroused him again and then climbed on top of him. "Oh my God, Walter's getting raped on the side of the road in Wisconsin." And they coupled in a few moments of intense passion. Walter arrived home in a state of bliss. Then he was horrified. There were lipstick stains all over his white pants. "My God, how will I ever explain that to Mom?" he exclaimed. He scrubbed and scrubbed with laundry soap. "Well, throw him in a pot of boiling water. Why not? Start that again. Then put it in wax paper." When Walter related the previous night's event to his schoolmates, the same ones who bragged about their sexual conquest, they didn't believe him. "You're full of shit, Liberace," they said. Walter had a few more encounters with the blues singer at her apartment, and as he related in later years, she was impressed by his youthful capacity for multiple orgasms. The passionate interlude ended when she found a job singing in Cleveland. Oh, wah, wah. Look at Cleveland bringing the hammer down. Walter's sexual initiation proved far from satisfactory. His partner had been a boy-hungry trollop, twice his age. A boy-hungry trollop. A trollop. I'm going to have to look up I get it, but I didn't see the actual definition of a trollop. And their love-making had been mechanical and passionless, nothing like Walter had expected after all those romantic movies he'd seen. In a rare display of harmony, the entire Liberace family, mother and father, George, Angelina, and Rudy, plus mom's sister Anne, now a Catholic nun named Sister DeSalis, appeared in June 1937 for Walter's graduation at East Milwaukee High School. He played in the school orchestra, of course, and was cited for his scholastic achievement. An 84 average, 21st in the graduating class of 76. That's pretty good, right? His picture in the high school annual shows a healthy young man of 18, already an inch or two under 6 feet tall, the wide-set eyes, the full lips, curved, and a confident smile. While other boys in the annual looked stiff in their Sunday suits, Walter seemed comfortable in a jacket and a double-breasted vest with lapels. On the coat was a stylish boutonniere. Beneath the photograph was one inscription: "Our Wally has already made his claim with Paderewski, Gershwin, and others of fame." Oh, that's not the kind of shit we wrote in our yearbooks. but that's pretty deep, serious. High school graduation was brought no prospect of college, even though Walter's grades would have granted him admission to the University of Wisconsin. With Sam Liberace still unemployed and George on his own with the touring orchestra, it was left for Walter to provide the principal support for the family. Besides, he had no concern for further education. His single, all-consuming interest was music. He could broaden his knowledge through continuing scholarship studies with Florence Kelly. His real education, he realized, lay in constantly performing before the people, honing his skills to please and amuse and impress his audience with his pianistic talent. Chapter 2. That was just chapter 1. He's only 16. Look what's already happened to him. Page 21 for you nerds. The once and future Walter Buster Keyes finds his destiny with the help of another Milwaukee native. Leopold Stokowski was coming to Walter with the Philadelphia Symphony Orchestra, and Walter believed it would lift his father's depressed spirits to attend the concert with him. Hey, Dad, I've got 2 tickets to see Stokowski. You want to go with me? Can't go, Sam answered. I got a rehearsal with the American Legion Band. Walter was disappointed, but he knew someone else who would be thrilled to hear the Philadelphia Symphony, Florence Kelly. That's his teacher. Walter and his teacher were both in a state of excitement as they joined the crowd at the Pabst Theater. Here we are at the Pabst again. That's really cool that I've even been in there. I did not know Liberace had been in there as a kid. That's kind of interesting. And they took their seats in the rear of the orchestra section. As the musicians in their tuxedos and stiff shirts threaded their way through the music stands to take their position, Walter gazed around at the audience. His heart stopped. Seated a few rows in front of him was his father talking intimately with a woman. What? Oh, no. Tears began to form in Walter's eyes. Florence Kelly looked at him and said, Walter, what's the matter? He nodded in the direction of his father, and Mrs. Kelly held her hand over her mouth in astonishment. You knew? He asked. Mrs. Kelly nodded slowly. Who is she? Zana Smrz. S-M-R-Z. That's a last name. There's not a fucking vowel in that name. Smrz. Smrz. She teaches cello and plays in the symphony. Does Mom know? I don't think so, but in time she will. For Walter. What was the father thinking? He already told him he's going. He invited him. Wow, I guess he didn't give a shit. For Walter, it was a punishing blow. He had intimate knowledge of the antagonism between his mother and father, but he had persisted in thinking that, like all Catholic couples, they would somehow find a way to coexist. Now Walter had seen firsthand the evidence of his father's duplicity. Never again could Walter believe in his father. He would always sympathize with his mother, who had sacrificed to preserve the fabric of the family, only to be betrayed by a thankless husband. Unwilling to face his father and afraid that he would somehow disclose the secret to his mother, Walter spent more time away from home. There was much to occupy him. Now that he was free of school, he could intensify his lessons with Mrs. Kelly, and there were jobs to be found for a piano player with his versatility. His first regular job was at the Red Room Bar of the Plankinton Arcade. The pay was $35 a week plus all he could eat. Whoa, and watch out, because he's a big guy. He can eat. And the manager claimed he lost deal on the money. He also hired himself out for late-night parties, leaving the Red Room at 1 a.m., closing, and entertaining revelers sometimes until dawn. That's a good place to stop, Termites, don't you think? Wish you guys could see these pictures. I wish my brother George was here. He's a handsome guy. Little chubby sometimes, but he wore it well. All right, Termites. Are you guys, anybody bored out there? People still trying to act like this isn't weird? I am trying to act like it's not weird. But now, on top of COVID, because I haven't gotten a vaccine yet, because I'm not in the elderly group. Thankfully, glad I'm not in that group just yet. Just yet, get close. It'll be better by springtime. Can't do anything anyway. Snow, unless you're like some of my friends out west, Arizona. One of my friends texted a picture of him on the driving range, just enough to make everybody want to punch him in the face, but yet be secretly happy for him, but mostly jealous. All right, Termites, pull your sheets up, find your cold spot, and then pull your sheet and your blanket up, get warm, You're good termites. You're worthy termites. Some of you chubby termites, don't worry. Nobody's going to know till we have to come out. Nobody knows. We're going to make some t-shirts. Haven't done that yet. I'll get on it. I promise. Are you ready? Night-night, termites.